let's draft, boys. Let's talk about the boys universe. Let's bring it all together, and let's talk about some of the wild, most eccentric characters that we get on TV. Flix, how are we doing this? We got a wheel?
Yeah, I got to pull it up. One sec.
All right, Flix, pulling up the wheel. We'll put it on the screen here. We'll decide the draft order, and then we'll roll. As he's pulling it up, I'll describe the parameters. We're going to do 5 rounds because the boys have that many characters that we could choose from. You got to choose one soup, one non-soup, and one Gen V character. Ricky Flex, is it okay if like our soup and Gen V like bleed into the same category?
Yeah, I would say so, right?
Yeah. So it's just like you can combine categories, but it's just you have to make sure you fill out all 3 of the criteria at some point in your draft. So you can have like 3 soups, right? It's just and you can have one non-soup, whatever it may be. You just got to have those 3 criteria on your squad. Does that make sense, Gus?
Yeah, so you said, so 5 rounds, so soup, non-soup, a Gen V character, and then 2 wild cards. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, wild card's a good way to put it.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Let's do it. Ricky Flicks.
You guys see my screen just to confirm?
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, this time
Translucent over here. All right. All right.
Okay.
Gus.
All right.
So you get the option if you want the first, second, or third pick.
I'll go 2.
All right, Doc. Here we go. Down to the
Gonna
wire
get to you?
again.
Oh, it's me, right?
Yeah. All right. What do you want?
I'll go first because it's the most like obvious 1-1 of all time.
All right. That's it then.
So
Doc, Gus, and me.
when I say like most obvious 1-1 of all time, that's like when you take away all the categories, right? If I'm just thinking about the best name on the board, right? Hero, non-hero, there's 2 that just stick out, like 2 characters from both shows that I want to take, but one is literally my favorite character in television. And I would argue no actor plays this character better. Anthony Starr as Homelander. It's the easy 1-1 pick for me. He makes this show. Like I love everything about like we talked about all the elements that we like about the boys, but like if you take away Homelander, it's no longer like the show I look forward to most. I would say if the boys like if I had to look forward to one new season of a show that I like, it probably goes to Bear and then the boys, and it's primarily because of Homelander. So that's my 1-1 pick.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked, Gus. You didn't go 1. I don't want.
I'm trying to build guys I don't hate. Also, some weird picks. I agree though. If I could go back, we'll see.
We'll see. You're building a squad, and you know
I took Emeka Okafor and Karan Butler. They're not bad.
They're not bad. All right. So since I got the 1 pick, right, Gus, it's on to you. What category are you going in? What's your pick?
So I'm gonna go soup as well. And for a while, she could have blended into multiple categories before we learned about her. But I think to your point, the invincible guy, Homelander, at least at this point, it seems the only individual that can stand up to him is Victoria Newman. And she seems smarter than Homelander. In my opinion, it seems like she could have killed him at this point, but for some reason, which I actually don't know how powerful her powers are, but she's a badass, thinks 5 steps ahead, probably going to kill the guy running for the presidential, and she's the VP. So she's going to become president. That's season 4 of The Boys, I think, coming up. So let's take El Presidente, Victoria Newman.
Wow. This is a shocking pick. I would also say it's a sneaky, amazing pick because Victoria Newman is, I would say, underrated in a lot of different ways. Like she takes down Stan Edgar alongside Homelander. Yeah. And she I could totally see her taking down, right? I could see a presidential debate happening and her just like one like the crowd going awry and her just making the other maybe the incumbent's head just explode. Like I could see something like that happening, but she is absolutely ruthless. And I think I've really respected her character the more it bleeds into Gen V. So I do actually like the pick a lot.
I love this pick. I love this pick. I think she's amazing. And I think one of my favorite moments, if we did like a top billing for boys moments, one of my favorite moments was when you first knew or first realized she was the one blowing heads off people. That was an all-time boys moment. Awesome. And
Her
also
eyes glass over.
Yes.
Where did this shit come from?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It cemented itself as a really clever show. It was awesome. Yeah.
So
shock
so
factor
sick.
off the charts.
Mhm.
So I love this pick. Unfortunate it's not mine because she's one of my favorites for sure. Top 5 for me, but good pick, Gus.
I got a question. So Victoria Newman, substantial appearance in Gen V. Does that also count as a Gen V selection?
I hadn't intended it to be. I think there's enough good characters in Gen V that I'll slot her in as my soup.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Cool. Good pick. Ricky Flex, you're up.
Okay, so you both have taken soups. Okay, I'll take a non-soup. Oh no, wait, sorry, yeah, non-soup. Or this is all right. This is gonna beg the question here. All right, butcher. What are we gonna categorize him?
Non-soup.
Non-soup.
All right, yeah, good.
That's the whole point of his thing.
Yeah,
he's not a
right.
soup. He'll get dirty enough to fight fire with fire.
Yeah, like Billy Butcher. For me, great name first of all, great accent, Carl Urban, great comeback for him with this. But yes, he's the leader of the boys, of the initiative, I should say. He gathers the troops, not necessarily keeps them together, but he's the leader, right? But he's a funny bastard at the end of the day. The raunchiness, it starts with him in this show. This universe. It started with him. Love the Hawaiian shirts. This guy is the boys. I couldn't let him slip to the past the first round. Billy Butcher is my first pick.
Gus, any thoughts? You let him slide down to the 3 pick.
I mean, I like it. There's no telling if he's going to live past another year with this whole temp V stuff coursing through his veins. That's the whole thing that I mean, he's part of the lifeblood of this show. I'd be surprised if they let that get too bad too quickly. But I think it's a great pick. I'm still comfortable with my 1-2. You got to go out and get your guys. And I took Victoria Newman. Good pick.
You're reading the scouting report well. Billy Butcher. I mean, I would say first 2 seasons, that's when I loved him most. When he was messing with the temp V, right? I was like, man, I don't know. Like it's to tease a pick, like him and Huey, when they start messing with the temp V, I'm like, I'm starting not to love these characters as much any longer. That's probably intentional from the show. But also the one-on-one with Butcher and Homelander, it's like a JV Batman versus Joker. It's like 2 foils from one another, seeing them go at it. And like that fight scene during the Hero Gasm episode, then when Soldier Boy kicks in there too, that's one of my favorite fight scenes, I think, in the history of the boys. I was also thinking, like, what if is the season 4 of the boys, is it going to be like Butcher trying to grab this disease from Newman and try and spread it to all these soups? Do you think that's going to be like the plot, or at least like the goal of Butcher's character in the next season?
I think in his conversations with Mallory, if she got wind of this from Shetty, and if he knows this, he's not gonna stop until he figures out. I mean, we already saw that he's in the woods. If he could get a remnant of it, anything to figure out where it went. I mean, the more we talk about this, I feel like that's going to be probably the driving plot of this next season of The Boys, right?
Yeah. And I was thinking like that's why like he would go get like Marie potentially, because she knows about it from Newman, and then he can get what he wants, because like that's what kind of Butcher's known for. As much as he is kind of like a part of the boys, the leader of the boys, a team guy, he's always going to go with like his personal motive first. So now it just popped in my mind a little bit there. Okay. Ricky Flex, you go again. We go snake style.
Okay. I know you guys already have soups in you, or have you, but you definitely don't have Compound V. Sorry, boys. But I'm afraid of that wild card selection, so I'm just gonna pick, just like Gus said, you go out and get your guys. I'm picking Soldier Boy. Go out and get your guys. You know, I couldn't get Homelander. I'm picking the next best thing. You know, and I think Soldier Boy in season 3, like you could just see his cameo in Gen V. You know, with the raunchiness here as well, and he kind of drove season 3 of The Boys. You know, I know Homelander is Homelander. He is The Boys, but like that Soldier Boy coming into the show, that was like all the hype, and it lived up to it. And I'm happy with that selection. You know, go out and get your guys. I think for this draft, that is the motto here. So Soldier Boy is my second pick.
Thoughts, Gus?
That guy's just such a wisecracking asshole. His character is hysterical. I'm glad that they pretty limited role, which I mean, he was probably my least favorite Gen V sort of cameo, just because it was mainly an expository character explaining what the hell is going on. Kate has this power to sort of lock you up in her mind, so we certainly got his classic banter and just sheer disdain for being respectful in the way that he talks, which is great. And I mean, obviously he's Homelander 1.0 the way they describe him, so he's got bark and bite, it seems. So good pick. Yeah.
That was like him showing up in Gen V was like the fan favorite moment. It's like having John Krasinski show up in Multiverse of Madness. It's like, oh, this is great, and then like, okay, we'll see you like at some point in season 4 of The Boys. I also think Soldier Boy, like, I can only take a certain amount of him at one time. Like even the way he's talking in Gen V, I was like, I can't watch him. This guy's the lead of the show. Like I can't. Like I can't just like my ears might bleed like after a certain amount of time. But like when he hits his spots and he has his moments, absolutely electric. But it's got to be in doses.
I agree. I think doses is the right. That's actually the right phrasing for it. But when it's right, just right, it's fantastic. It is one of the funniest things on the show. I'm happy I got him. I think Soldier Boy, again, like you can't also knock his powers. Like he's the only one that could really face up to Homelander. And I also think like what we always forget with Soldier Boy is that he could also take away powers. That is awesome, and it could also destroy buildings, but we'll say that for another day. But I think Soldier Boy, second most powerful Boys character or superhero, I could safely say. So happy I have him on my team.
All right. Gus, you're up.
All right. So I think getting Newman with my first pick, I need a little brawn here. And I think I'm gonna use my Gen V pick to go for Sam. We whether it was in Puppet Vision, we saw him going to work on people, or actually at the end, I think they compared him to Queen Maeve in terms of powers, and it seems like he's an absolute animal. And plus the fact that he is pretty tough to wrangle at times. I'd imagine if you're putting a team together, he might go rogue, but he's a badass, powerful guy. I'm going with Sam. Yeah.
Dude, like he kind of reminds me of like the Hulk for like The Boys, for Gen V, or potentially for like the 7, like the next season. Like a man who just cannot be controlled. And I was also wondering, like, by the end of this season, like, does he have his feelings back yet? From Kate, or is he just gonna be like this mindless killer
until
and
she
make
turns
him
him
like
back
potentially the most dangerous character in the show?
Yeah, that could be. At least, well, I don't know if it'll be The Boys season 4, and we'll see them in that. But I imagine they'll definitely be in season 2 of Gen V, and I think that could be something that they use a lot to just unleash his powers, because Kate's just got total control over him.
That would be cool if he was the main villain of like season 2 of Gen V. I would be totally on board with that. And he's an interesting character. He's someone that I didn't like initially. I thought he was like really overselling like the mental illness that he was going through. I thought like the actor didn't do that great of a job, but I thought like as it went on, I'm like, this guy is just like a psychopath. Like I'm totally buying it at this point. And to see him like totally betray, I forgot the midget. What's the girl's name? Emma. Yeah, I keep forgetting the midget's name. The hamster. So when he betrayed Emma, that was such a heartbreaking moment. I'm like, this guy, this is his evil. This is his evil turning moment right here. This is the moment.
That was a 16 too, because like Kate's like, okay, stop me, but you have to go through him, and everyone's like, oh shit, we're not doing that. Like that was a sick scene too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Doc, the scene that I think you were just talking about when him and Emma sort of went back and forth, and it was a really emotional scene. It was cool how just before that, it was their acting class, and that kid was performing the scene from The Dawn of the Seven, and it's just the most dog shit acting, and then it's them on stage doing,
Yeah, that's
that
smart.
was a really artistic, cool way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's so many times where I wonder about that when I'm watching shows too. I'm like the bad acting. Are they intentionally doing the bad acting when, like, of course they are? And then you're right, that emotionally touching scene, probably the most heartfelt one of the season. That was crazy. Good call. All right, I'm going to go. I'm gonna get my actually no, I'm going Kimiko. Kimiko is someone that I have loved since she had first appeared, even when she was like basically like a rogue animal. And to see like the character she's grown into and her relationship with Frenchie, I think Kimiko, she was kind of like Sam, and like she's like a soup that can't be controlled. And her scenes, that's like some of the goriest in the history of the boys, and her tearing people apart. And to see her snap in that, was it first or second episode she appears in, one of the lasting memories I think I have of her character. Kimiko is someone that's so easy to root for at this point too, and this is a show that has so many flawed characters. It's hard to find the ones that like you want to see make it to the other side. 100% Kimiko is making it on my squad.
I love Kimiko, another great name. Really showcased the glory of the boys early on too, and it was like really like wow moment, because right when you're introduced to her, you think, oh, she's like a young girl who's in this basement or dungeon that's enslaved, but it's because she's so freaking dangerous and powerful and badass. And I think also one of the best things about the boys too is that, especially compared to Gen V, because Gen V is a lot more open with the backstories, is that she's like her story is there's so much mystique around her, and she's so quiet, she doesn't really speak, right? So that also helps. Similar to other characters we'll get to, no teas and picks, but it just makes her unpredictable and very interesting. And I love Kimiko. She was number 6 on my board, so right where you drafted her, love it.
Yeah, that point, Ricky, about, I mean, the watching season 1 of The Boys was, I mean, it was probably a while ago for all of us the first time, and her coming out was the holy shit. This is a gory. This isn't like other things of this typical genre. This is atypical. It does its own thing, and it made a name for itself with her, at least in that regard. I agree. Good pick.
And she has like a heartbreak to her story too, right? Like with like her brother, right, who's not as willing to like he was being held basically captive by Butcher and the boys. Like it's so long ago that like I kind of forget that type of stuff. But I also wanted to bring up something that was so out of character that we saw in season 3. What do you guys think of that musical moment with her and Frenchie during that season? Did it work for you guys?
Yeah, I didn't dig that. I didn't like it.
Like that. This is not the soft side of Kimiko.
You're putting down your own pick.
Yeah, but that's like it's just something that happened. We don't talk about it, right? That's just
I forgot about it until you brought it up.
Yeah, let's continue to forget about it.
Yeah, push it way down.
Yeah, just Will Smith like Men in Black. All right, so next, I think I should take Gen V, although I am missing a non-soup. There's definitely one more soup I want to have on my board, just because he's the most fun character to talk about, or she. I kind of gave it away. I've been teasing picks the entire time here. Apologies. I'm gonna go with Marie. I'm gonna be Marie Moreau. It's a little vanilla. It's vanilla, but I think out of all the characters in Gen V, I think she's the one that I was drawn to most. All right. I think she is someone that has the coolest powers, I want to say, potentially I saw from Gen V, with her ability to manipulate blood and then have that moment where the person is running at the helicopter in the finale and her throwing the blood daggers. I'm like, holy shit, like this is pretty cool. And yeah, I think she's an all-star, right? I like her more so than the most of that cast. If man, yeah. So I think she was my number 1 for Gen V. So yeah, I'm gonna go Marie as my Gen V pick.
Yeah, what did you guys think of her as sort of the lead of this starting season for what was following up a really successful show. I thought she did a really good job. And they linked her up with some badass powers. Do you guys agree? You think she was a good sort of leader in this show?
Yeah, I think she was perfect because, like, similar to the boys, like she was very different than the rest of the students at Godolkin, right? She had to prove that she isn't a monster because she has such these weird powers. She killed her parents. She has to prove it to her sister, who knows if she's even alive. She is, but whatever. And she's trying to make it to the 7, right? So it's a good story all around, good underdog story to kind of center the show around. When you have Golden Boy, who's like kind of praised as the next Homelander. You have a guy who, Polarity's son. You have the typical blonde girl, pretty blonde girl. You have all these other major characters that they're obviously different because it's the boys, but then you have the underdog story to kind of root for.
Yeah, I think she was the easiest to root for based on the backstory that was set, right? You talk about the underdog mentality. You got really sick powers. Yeah, and she's like the freshman. Everyone is like older than her, more experienced than her. She's got that dog though. She's got that dog. I think she's a worthy character, an actor as well to like carry over into the boys. This is a cast that's like they're relatively unknowns. All these actors aside from like Schwarzenegger's son is just known for being Schwarzenegger's son. And he dies in the first episode. Like they had a lot to prove, and I think like the writing did help Marie's character out. But I thought she was definitely formidable. I liked her a lot. Favorite one of the squad.
Yeah. All right, I got a soup. I have a Gen V. Got non-soup and 2 wild cards. So I'm looking at Homelander, Kimiko, Marie, Butcher, Soldier Boy. I still think I'm going to use up my wild card on a character that I wish we saw a little more combat from, but what we did see, and we actually got a lot of background story on him, but Black Noir just seems to be a cold-blooded killer, man. I mean, obviously he is. That's usually used in hyperbole, but he's sick. He's a badass, and what's going on in his head is pretty wild and a creative, unique approach to that character, what they're thinking. I really loved his entire storyline in The Boys. Yeah, Black Noir is joining the squad.
I almost picked him in my first 2 picks. I think I like Black Noir. I think I picked only Soldier Boy just because of his powers. But Black Noir is such a sick character. The silent assassins that have that aura around them. Like we always talk about John Wick on the show and those type of movies. Like this is like those silent assassins. I love them. I just love the aura around them. God, but my hot take is that Black Noir comes back this season.
Do you think, dude? I was thinking that potentially if they have to hide a character or like someone's done something so atrocious, they put him in the Black Noir suit. Is that going to be? Is Black Noir like? Because I'm trying to think back to like he dies in. Well, we presume he dies.
Season
he has super healing powers. Like who knows?
Homelander puts a fist through his chest, right? Isn't that right? It? Rips his guts out. But I mean, it's the rule of superhero shit and like Fast and Furious. If you don't see them, buried in the ground, then they could come back.
Yeah, I was just thinking like that could be someone that's passed on, like that could be a mantle that's passed on to somebody else. But Black Noir is such a badass character, and I was begging for justice for Black Noir. We need to know more about him. We need to see more of him, right? Because his combat was so awesome. And one of the best episodes I thought was season 3. Like it was a change of pace episode. You had to take a break for a second because so much shit was happening. To have like that animation and like what's going on in his head, the brain damage that he's had. That was it's like one of the special, like, I guess, breaks that you got during that season and in the history of the show. And it was devastating to see him die like the same episode. I was like, what the hell? How could you just take this from us? But that was definitely a top 4 I had for the boys.
You have Sam, Gus, and Black Noir. You got the puppets and the animated shows. Like,
yeah, seriously.
But going on your board.
I would say his team could kick our team's ass, though. I have Homelander, so it doesn't. I mean,
yeah.
But like I think of Newman, just at any point could just blow up someone's brain. Sam is basically the Hulk, but a killer. And Black Noir is just.
Ricky's got the 2 wisecracking dickheads that are.
You know what?
Dude, imagine being around Butcher and Soldier Boy for an extended period of time, right?
That's enough to make me kill my. Yeah. That's
And you know what? Let's just lean into it some more. I'll pick the deep.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll pick the deep. I'll get the crackers all together here. Yes, Chase Crawford, awesome in this. He's hilarious. But it's just so funny how he's mocked all the time. He's kind of like the comic relief of the show. He messes, like, fucks fish, like, fucked up, but he's insecure about gills, like. And again, like, we all make fun of him. He's a pathetic character, but he's so great to mock. And again, like, Chase Crawford is perfect in this as his character. And we always like in other like MCU or DCU with Aquaman, we always mock the guy who can talk to fish. And this show, and we always talk about the meta-ness of this show and how it's so on the nose. This is so on the nose, but in such a boys way. Like, he commands a whale at the boys and kills a whale by accident. And what I said earlier, like, it's so perfect. Yeah, I'll just keep adding to my list of wisecrackers and pick the deep.
What is it an octopus he puts in the back of the truck?
Yeah.
What's he putting?
That Homelander makes him eat?
No, it's not that one. That's oh my God, that moment, that's awful. But I think it was season 1 where he gets in trouble where it goes through the windshield. What was the animal that went through the windshield? He was like driving the truck. Damn. That was like one of the moments where I'm like, this guy's just a nutcase. But like when he went away, what's interesting about the deep, like I thought like we weren't gonna see him again. Like after in season 1, like after he has like this, like he exposes himself to Starlight. I'm like, okay, he's gone, you know. But then like he is someone that he's in like a secondary plot line, but he was absolutely hilarious in those moments. Like I didn't mind like straying away from like Butcher and Homelander and everybody just so I can get some time with the deep because he's that funny. And Chase Crawford, he's that good at playing the deep. I feel like he's made to be that character. I would have a hard time seeing him play anybody else in any other show. But yeah, he was definitely on the big board right after Black Noir.
It was a dolphin, I think.
Dolphin, yeah, it was a dolphin.
But all right, so I got the deep, I got Soldier Boy, and I got Butcher. I got a wild card left in Gen V. Both you guys have Gen Vs, but I'm afraid you might pick one of them for a wild card. Oof. Okay. Let's. You know, pick your guys, Flix. Pick your guys. I'm gonna go Kate. I think we hyped up Kate before
in the
this.
fourth to get her in the fourth. She's been the mover and the shaker of, you know, this whole upturn of the last 2 episodes of Gen V. Great pick.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we talked about it enough, but like, I don't know, I think Kate in the 4th round, I'll take that.
Yeah. But Kate, I would say the moment where like we kind of predicted, we did talk about like the first 2 episodes of Gen V a little bit on the pod. And we were saying like the moment where it's like the cut to black, everyone forgets where they are and they wake up at the next episode. I immediately thought like, oh, that's Kate. And like when she makes that turn and you see like she is deceitful and she can't be trusted and she's reading your friends' minds, that's when like she finally becomes like less of the basic like blonde bitch and she becomes like ultimately like kind of like the big bad of this season or the tortured villain like of this series, you know. That's a good pick. I if this draft was 2 weeks ago, I would not have had her on the board, but no, I liked it. It's good.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it, Doc. And I think her powers could having her wean off of whatever medication that Shetty had her taking. It seems like she's only gaining more and more power, or more understanding over her powers, and you know that sky could be the limit for her. It seems, you know.
Won't need physical contact. That's all I'm saying. Won't need it soon.
Yeah. Okay, I got soup, Gen V, got a wild card, and a non-soup. All right, I'm gonna play to the crowd here. I think you'll agree with me here that this could fit as one because of how they played it. But the Greg Bob guard down in the woods that they kept fucking up the names of. What's up, Greg?
He eats his own hands?
I'm Bob. Yeah. Eat your hands, monster. They fuck up their names so often, and I was like, this show just like their attention to funny detail is great, and want those fuckers. They're coming as a combo for this pick. I don't
Greg
think anyone's
Bob.
taking
Greg
the other.
Bob.
Dude, this is either gonna win you the draft or lose you the draft. You know, like
It's a big swing. It's a big swing.
Like because like you're gonna have that graphic. It's gonna see Greg/Bob, and it's gonna be just you. I mean,
Guy eating his own hands.
It should be
Yeah.
either the guy eating his hands like a still, or it's like I was gonna say Sam punching the guy in the face, but that guy, its fist went through his face. But yeah, the guy eating the hands, you got to do that. That's still, and if you know, you know, you know.
Yeah, you know, you know.
No, that was good, Greg Bob. I don't have much to add. I think that's. I was looking to find some like lower level type of characters, but all the lower level characters I could think of are just like I hate those guys. Like this is one of the few that I'm like, hey, I don't mind that guy. You know, nice little fan moment. Am I up now? Okay. So my last two picks here. I have to do one non-soup and then one wild card. Non-soup. I'm going Frenchie. I gotta go Frenchie. Frenchie, the definition of a wild card, right? And you need a crazy guy like that to be joining up a squad that is going to be taking down like superheroes, you know? And him and Butcher, I think it's an unhealthy but electric combo. He is someone that I've grown. I like him with Kimiko. I think she grounds him a lot as a person, but a guy who's gone through a shit ton, right? A guy who's a former drug addict, former criminal, like he's done it all. But he's got a strong heart, and he's also it's something about the boys with like those characters. They're non-soups, but they have accents and like they're magnetic on screen, and they're really good at the small roles that they have. I got to get Frenchie here. I'm glad. Do you guys like him or what?
I do, and I think particularly in film and shows where they have the crew gangs up, and you got to have your ammunitions guy. You got Don Cheadle in Ocean's 11, who's the explosives expert, and Frenchie fills like multiple of those roles, and just I'll craft up a bomb that we can shove up his ass and then translucent to bits. Like he's awesome. He's awesome. He adds so much to the show, and he's just a freak, as you put it.
That's a perfect.
He is that guy.
That is a perfect way to put it. And again, like similar to what I was saying with Kimiko, the translucent death, that was also like a whoa moment. Like we can kill soups for the boys. So like that was like a big part of Frenchie there as well. So this is a good pick.
Okay. My last pick, and as we head into the 5th round, tough. Kind of want. I'm leaning towards non-soup or soup. I'm weaning off Gen V. Oh my god, this is hard. I will go. I don't want to pick the Nazi. I can't pick the Nazi. I will pick.
Seems like you want to take the Nazi.
Well, like this electric character. I can't do it. I can't have Homelander. I can't have like the neo-Nazi and the Nazi on my team. Can't have both. Right? That's a bad look for the graphic. Right? Greg Bob's a better look.
Greg Bob's.
Huey, do it. Like I feel like Huey has to get drafted here. Like he is like someone that pissed me off during the 3rd season. But it's also someone that I see rise within the boys' ranks. He goes from 0 to sort of hero, and dynamic with Butcher, amazing. I feel like if you don't have Huey, like if he went undrafted here, I feel like I'd be disrespecting the show. He's there from the first scene. He's there at the last scene of season 3, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Huey, despite his relationship hijinks with Starlight that kind of pissed me off in season 3. But he's on my board.
Yeah, this is one where if he was around by the time I got the Mr. Irrelevant, I still would have to think about it. You know, like he's not a guy you want on your
Not
team.
the
Perfect spot for Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Huey, just the whiny bitch that kind of comes to, kind of finds his way and grows some balls by throughout the series.
Yeah. It's like kind of the heart of the show, but also just like a whiny bitch, like you said. It's like it's tough. It's tough, but he is like the main character of the show. Him on the 10 feet, I'm telling you, like him on the 10 feet. It's like almost when like Spider-Man gets the symbiote, and you're like, oh man, I don't really like him dancing like that in the middle of the street. I don't like Huey acting like that with Starlight. But yeah, that's my 5th rounder. We're moving off, and I don't want to talk about it. Gus, you're up.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm not surprised. I'm between two, but I'm leaning with. It's got to be Tech Knight.
Oh,
I think he would be my favorite character in the entire show. I mean, Homelander, it deserves, Anthony Starr deserves awards for this performance, and show's going to go down in canon because of him. But Tech Knight, man, that episode had me losing my mind, laughing throughout the whole thing. It was, and also he's just from a powers perspective, a pretty badass guy in terms of the, Sherlock, but with, mind-reading potential powers. The whole truth.
Yeah, it is like Sherlock Holmes with like RDJ breaking down the dude in like the bare knuckle boxing match where he's like, oh, he's got like a drip of sweat coming off the right side of his like ear or something like that. It's like he just reads everything perfectly. I think Gus, you have really lived up to the hype of the boys aficionado with these picks here. You really came to play today. I just want to say we appreciate it here at TDI.
Got it, boys. Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Flix, were you considering Tech Knight with Mr. Irrelevant?
I was. That was my next pick.
Wow.
I was debating him in the fourth round with Kate, but I was like, you know what? Like Kate deserves like my Gen V slot, and then I'll put Tech Knight in my wild card. But I should, after the Greg Bob pick, definitely got nervous with Tech Knight a little bit, and then when he said it, I freaked out. I was like, he actually picked it. This guy's awesome. Like, I know he's like weirdo, but like, what a great cameo episode.
He's arguably the biggest freak that we have on our board.
I don't think it's close. And there are so many freaks in this show. So many.
100% agree.
All right. So I got Mr. and Mrs. Irrelevant here. Now it sucks because now I don't know where I'm going. All right. I'll talk it through a little bit. I don't want to pick Starlight. I just don't want to do it. I know I feel like I have to pick her, similar to your Huey pick, but I don't like her. Like, she's also that whiny bitch in the 7. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know. And Queen Maeve, like, that Wonder Woman vibes, I don't know. I'm thinking about picking her too. She's the only one that stands up to Homelander's bullshit, like whatever. I don't know. And A-Train's A-Train. The pop claw thing was weird. I
think it doesn't have to be someone from the 7. It's your draft.
Yeah. There's some great like superheroes outside the 7 and the boys that are like sub characters, but I actually love Mother's Milk. So I'm just gonna go with Mother's Milk, the true leader of the boys. I know in season 3, with his daughter that kind of got annoying, but I'd rather pick him than one of the superheroes I don't like. So I'm just gonna pick Mother's Milk and go home.
Thoughts, Gus?
I like him. I thought his character was limited in the ammo that they gave you to really grasp onto him and like him a lot. A lot of it was the drama with his daughter, which, I mean, it's good character building, but it's not, the
great.
Sexy like details of a character that you like to grab onto in like a superhero type show. But I mean, he is great. I'd like to see if we can get more from him, and if he can, get Butcher to shut the fuck up.
He's truly Mr. Irrelevant. He's on the bench. You want to see if he become the starter.
There's definitely some like future potential. I feel like they did him dirty in season 3. He looked like such a pussy, I think, in season 3, if I remember correctly. Like, he is like a badass character, but they softened him up a lot during season 3. I think they did him dirty. But once again, if this is like after season 2, I'd be more likely like to have him like at the top of my board. But it is Mr. Irrelevant. Like, we're 15 like characters deep at this point. We don't really have much to go from here. I don't hate the pick. I don't blame you for not taking Starlight. Like, if you had to choose between Hugh and Starlight, who would you pick?
Huey. Barely.
How about you, Gus?
Starlight is like really one-dimensional. I think from a powers perspective, you could put her next to like a massive electricity generator thing, and like she might just be the most powerful soup out there. So I'm still going with Huey though.
Yeah.
I
would
like
say
Huey.
weird because
He's the
those are like
lifeblood. He's the lifeblood of this show.
Yeah, that's why
It's
it's
where
so
it started.
weird how it's like they lasted and one of them doesn't get drafted, one of them gets drafted in the last round. Like they're not the characters we're drawn to, in this show, despite them being the leads. I think that speaks to the power of the cast, to be honest, and also how cool the powers of all these characters are and what they bring to the table. I just thought it was really interesting that we just said nope, Starlight, nope, helps take down Homelander a little bit, at the end of season 3, but nope, gone. Flex, you look like you're about to say something.
No, like I think like Starlight, end of season 3, when she gets anointed as a member of the boys. Like, how do we feel about that? I just it's between us three. How do we feel about that?
Gus?
It didn't feel natural as far as the
Right?
boys are grimy.
Yeah.
She's from Iowa or whatever.
Group of like scoundrels that'll do anything, and she did you just say she's a girl from Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't fit well.
She's Taylor Swift, bro.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
keep
we're gonna get
hanging with
doxxed
the
for
rest
this.
of them. Yeah.
He's avoiding that question.
Yeah.
Just,
No,
Not-
but like it didn't feel right, like at the end of season 3. It just really didn't. It's like, oh, she's wearing jeans and a jacket now, so she's in the boys? Like, I don't know. Like,
it's like Olivia
still Starlight.
Newton-John at the end of Grease. It's like we're not buying it yet,
Yeah.
just like, just whatever. Yeah, so she doesn't get drafted. Let me just run through like our squads really quick, and then we'll go through the honorable mentions here. So Dr. O has Homelander, Kimiko, Marie Moreau, Frenchie, and then Huey. Gus has Victoria Newman. He's got Sam Riordan, Black Noir, Greg/Bob, and Tech Knight. Ricky Flix has Billy Butcher, Soldier Boy, The Deep, Kate, and Mother's Milk. Okay, those are our squads. Gus, anyone that you were really debating on drafting that went undrafted here?
In the Greg Bob Tech Knight realm,
Yeah.
I was purely because Simon Pegg is just an absolute G. Huey's dad, I think it's Huey Sr. I think Huey might be a junior. So he was in there. I mean, he plays a pretty forgettable character, but Simon Pegg just is the shit. So he was on the list. Also Stan Edgar. I was considering him for the same, sort of the same reasons Victoria Newman, aside from the, for the non-soup reasons. He plays such a similar character in a lot of the things he's in, and I love him in everything. That Gus Fring type, countenance that he has, I think it's awesome. I thought he was a great character. I was bummed to see him, get whacked.
To see a human, like a masculine human character go against Homelander and like have to like really, Homelander has to pull out all the stops to like bring him out of his position, right? I thought that said a lot about Stan Edgar, and it says a lot about, I guess, you're right. It's Giancarlo Esposito has that like prowess when he's playing a villain. It's just like you accept this guy's going to be impossible to take down. I think there's a good chance we see him next season. Like he's still around, he's still alive. So I feel like isn't he? Right?
I could be. I'm probably wrong here. I don't know why I thought Newman. Newman did away with it.
Isn't Newman like her dad? He's like the stepfather. Isn't that?
Yeah, he adopted her.
He was injecting her with V, compound V.
Yeah. So I think she was in that same school or home that Marie Moreau was in, right? And then he took her out of that. There's a lot of content to this show that
I'll have to rewatch. I thought it was something where like Stan Edgar was like, Homelander said you must step down. He refused to do so. He was going to expose Homelander for something. I wish I rewatched the entire show like right before this. But he might be gone, right? Okay, cool. Stan Edgar definitely was on my list here. Anybody else?
No, I think in the Mr. Irrelevant, I kind of just went through my list. I don't know. The members of the 7 that I mentioned, not enough to them that I connected with. I just didn't really. And Gen V, the group, I found Andre to be the most annoying character out of the group. I don't think he's the best actor. I didn't like him as much. But in Gen V, it was really Tech Knight was the one I really wanted, and Kate were like the 2 I really wanted. Other than that, like that Golden Boy, not enough. Like, yeah, and Sam's good, and it was already picked. So I don't really have much else.
And no one, like Stormfront, not on anyone's radar.
Too hot of a political climate. Can't be going with the immortal neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.